DJZ, what are you doing here? Festival hasn't even started yet.
I thought I'd take a bit of inspiration from the festival site to finish up some of my last tracks before the festival. I can't wait for the festival coming up. But this is a great spot to do the last of my tracks.
Well, when you look around here, this is the actual festival site.
It is, yeah. You can see all the names up there on the previous boards.
Yeah.
You know, there's a hill in the background there.
And how many festivals have you got a view like this?
That's right. I can't see it though. You know, when we're looking, we got to look at the audience.
Yeah, that's the other problem, of course.
But anyway.
Yeah. So you got a whole set ready almost, because you're going to do 2 sets. One Friday night, and the kids disco on Saturday at midday.
Oh, the kids disco on Saturday, that's pretty easy. You know, there's a few. We all know the tracks that the kids love to hear, so you know it's going to be very predictable. The Friday night, there's going to be a few surprises in there, Wade. There'll be some songs that are familiar, some songs that are not so familiar, and there's going to be some songs that are not so familiar, well, very familiar, but done in a not so familiar style.
Well, I've listened to some of your songs, and I have to say that they're very recognisable, as obvious, but you gave it your own 2026 twist, didn't it?
Well, that's the idea, and you know, I started as a bass player many years ago, and while I was doing that, when I was a teenager, I started, you know, using computers to create recordings of tracks and renditions of tracks back when I was a teenager. And about 7 or 8 years ago, I picked it up again, had another crack at it, and realised that with better quality equipment these days and better technology, you can actually produce something as good as the big name producers are producing it, you know, in their home. Yeah.
Do I dare to say that being a bass player, that for you then the doof 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 is very common?
Well, there is a bit that way, yeah. I know. Yeah, you know, I spend actually when I produce tracks, which is where you take samples and synthesizers and keyboards and use a computer. Computer does it all, and put it all together. The bit that I spend the most time on is the bass line, because that's the heart and soul of everything in music, really.
But hey, the computer does the work, but the computer does what you tell it to do.
That's right. Everything that I produce, it all comes from in here and my ears, and that's where it comes from. Yep.
Now, this kids disco, it's not like a hip-hop Wiggles, is it?
Yeah, it's going to be that way.
It is a bit.
Yeah. No, I think it will be that way. I mean, maybe a few songs from famous and not so famous performers, but mainly famous. You know, we'll be doing some chart music. We'll be doing some old school stuff, some old classics. But the stuff that the kids will like, yeah, definitely.
Now, you talk about DJing Friday night, DJing on Saturday, and then you already mentioned the bass. There's the other gig.
Yeah. Well, I think Rusty's going to be on sometime Saturday.
Yep.
And that's out of all the things, that's what I'm looking forward to the most. It's, playing the bass and doing live music is fantastic. I know DJing, there's an element of live things sort of thing involved in that. You've got to do your selection of your tracks and mix it all in together on the fly. But bass playing, that's all live. It's a totally different experience.
Yeah. How far do you want to take your DJing? Where do you see? Is there an end to it, or do you say, no, I keep developing and keep getting better at it, or if you can, of course?
Well, yeah, it's actually a funny story, because most DJs kind of a lot of DJs start as producers like me. I started producing music, writing my own music and the beats and the like there on the computer, and that's it. That's my instrument right there. And then they realise they can't actually play their songs anywhere. No one's interested in listening to it, and but then they have a crack at DJing. They buy a set of decks, small decks, and start DJing, so they can really play their own tracks. And that's the idea. That's where it all kind of starts. Where I want to take it, well, it's little steps at a time. I'm not the youngest fella anymore, but I've got a SoundCloud page out there. You can look at the FOKI.com.au website there, and if you find the artist page there, you'll see a link through to my SoundCloud. And I've got a few tracks up there that I've done at home myself, produced on my computer, and I'm just staying there at the moment. I'm just saying, I like to focus on the actual music side of things, the music production, because that's my creative outlet.
Now, we live on King Island, different lifestyle, different way of life. If you would still be back in hometown Sydney, would you have been DJing today?
Only in your home, only in your bedroom. They call them bedroom bangers, Wade.
Yeah, I know, but would you have had enough time for yourself, inspiration, interest to sort of, well, start it all again, make it happen?
Yeah, I guess I could have, but, then is there time in the capital cities? Because your time's swallowed up in capital cities in traffic, going out for dinner and meeting up with friends and the like there. And sure, we do some of those things on King Island, but there's a lot more happening in the city. And, on King Island, we've got plenty of time to do our arts and crafts and devote time to that.
Now, can you do me a favour?
What's that?
Because maybe some people might be curious now, what does he sound like? Can you, on the laptop there, your instrument, can you push a button and we let him hear a little bit, and then we'll see you next weekend?
Fantastic, Wave. This one here, this is on my SoundCloud page, you can check it out. It's a remix of Savage Garden's I Want You. You remember that track from 1998? Yep. And there's a few surprises in there. You might know the surprises if you know your jet setting, and if you're a jet setter and you know your ads.
Anytime I need to see your face, I just close my eyes and I am taking to a place where your grace don't mind. And a gentle feeling, take each other in the face of my spine, take like a chicken cherry cola. I don't need to try to explain, I just hold on tight. And if it happens again, I'ma move so silent. To the arms and the lips and the face of the human cannibal that I need to, I want to. Come stand a little bit closer, breathe in and get a bit higher. You never know what hit you when I get to you. I don't know if I need one. I try to find help. Using what's gonna be like into a deep sea diver who is swimming with the raincoat. Come stand a little bit closer.